Hello learners, in this session we will talk about the Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. These rules have been revised after 16 years since they were first issued in the year 2000. In this session we will learn about the history, enactment and implementation of these rules. Our common understanding of solid waste is the unwanted harmful substances which are released from industrial, household and the commercial activities. Due to increase in population, rising economy and increase in consumerism, there is lot of waste generated outside that we see all around. At present, 62 million tons of solid waste is being produced annually in our country, and it is predicted that by 2035 this figure will rise to 165 billion. Looking into this backdrop and the harmful hazards of solid waste that we are seeing all around, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified the new solid waste management rules. According to the new rules, the responsibilities have been given to all the different set of consumers and the various stakeholders. The draft rules were presented in June 2013. They were invited for public opinion, suggestions and recommendations, and after the suggestions were received, the working group analyzed all these suggestions and finally on 5th April 2016, the new solid waste management rules have been notified. As it has been said, the new rules are now assigning responsibilities to every consumer, every waste generator and to different stakeholders which are involved in the waste generation or in the other activities. So, the responsibility now lies not only on the shoulders of the government and the organizations, but now it is the duty of every individual who generates the solid waste and also releases it into the atmosphere. Now let us see what is the application. Initially, these rules were named as municipal solid waste, and now the revised term says that it is solid waste management rules. So now they are applicable beyond the municipal areas. It includes urban agglomerations, census towns, notified industrial townships, areas under the control of Indian Railways, airports, airbase, port and harbour, defence establishments, special economic zones, state and central government organizations, places of pilgrims, religious and historical importance. So that was the backdrop and the loophole of the previous act, but now it seems that by covering the whole canvas of the different organizations, now the loopholes of the previous rules have been addressed. So now it is applicable to variety of areas and it also addresses the issues of waste which are generated by these different sectors which are there in our society. Now, who are the waste generators? The waste generators are every household, the domestic waste which is being released. It is the paper, plastic, glass, metal, wood, etc. whatever has been released. Then event organizers. Whether you are the event organizer of a small event where only 100 people are there or more than that, now it is the responsibility of the event organizer to segregate the waste and dispose it at the particular local body or according to the rules whatever has been notified, it has to be done. So similarly, the street vendors, they have to have the container for the deposition of the waste, whatever the waste is being generated by their activities. Then it is the RWAs and market association and gated community having more than area 5,000 square meter, hotels and restaurants, etc. So now it has been said that all these are the waste generators have been given the duties regarding how they have to address the waste problem which is being generated by them and what measures they have to take in order to dispose the waste. So now the responsibility solely lies on the waste generator. Whether we are at a household, whatever the kinds of waste we are generating, we have to segregate it. Waste segregation is one of the important factor which has come out of the solid waste management rules which are new. For example, it is without segregation, the management of the solid waste is not possible. It has been repeatedly said. So, proper segregation of the waste is very essential. Now, what do we mean by segregation is that the waste which has been released by any waste generator, it has to be segregated into wet, dry and domestic hazardous waste. Wet waste implies the kitchen waste, the fruit peelings, the vegetable peelings, the leftover food which is biodegradable. It can be composted or can be followed, any other suitable procedure can be done. Then there is the dry waste which is non-biodegradable. It includes paper, plastic, metal, wood, etc. Then the domestic hazardous waste which includes mosquito repellents, cleaning agents and other sanitary type of waste which are there have been included in this. No waste generator shall throw, bury or burn the waste in open spaces or in drains and water bodies. This has been the usual practice of waste management in the earlier times. We have to initially what we used to do is just the street this was swept and the waste were dumped in the open places. But now it has been made clear that no such activity is being allowed. No public spaces the waste should be done, and not only this, in the water bodies also the waste should not be drained. Then there is a concept of user fee and spot fine. User fee has to be given to the waste collector, and spot fine actually it has to be given, and it is levied for the non-compliance of these rules or littering if it has been found in the markets, open spaces, in the streets and in the tourist places. If it is found that a person is found littering on the streets, they may be the spot fine can be charged on them. The concept of partnership in Swachh Bharat has also been introduced in the rules which have been amended. For example, it states that all the bulk generators of the waste, we have to segregate the waste into wet waste if it is there. It has to be kitchen waste if it is there, it has to be made into compost, converted into compost, it has to be given to the farmlands or any other kitchen compost. Also these kind of activities can be done. If it is a dry waste, authorized waste picker has to be handed over that waste, whether it is the electronic waste. Proper handling of the waste, of the dry waste is very essential. And along with this, all other suitable practices which have been taken over, that kind of things has to be there. So Swachh Bharat mission, which has been basically introduced for the cleaning and which have been actually one of the objective of the Swachh Bharat is 100% scientific management of the solid waste. So these new rules are actually a way for the partnership in these Swachh Bharat mission that has been introduced and that has been stated for the first time. Construction and demolition waste. This is a separate kind of the waste because it has for the first time it has been mentioned separately. All the type of construction activities are going on. It has been said that it is a very important economic activity that goes on. So it has to be disposed as per the CND rules, that is the construction and the demolition rules 2016. Then horticulture and kitchen waste has to be disposed as per the guidelines and the directions of the local bodies, and every street vendor, as it has been stated earlier, that it should keep suitable containers for the storage of the waste, and these, when the waste is being collected at a particular place, it should be given to the particular waste container or the depot. So no littering of the street vendors, particularly they are having disposable cups, plates, wrappers, food wastage, whatever that is being generated, they have to have a separate container bin for the storage of this waste, and it should be handed over to the particular waste collector depot or the storage, whichever comes for the according to the rules, according to the guidelines. Then duties of various stakeholders, because not only the generators, the different stakeholders are also involved in this waste generation process. So RWS, Market Association and all the commercial and the residential establishments, again and again it has been said that in-house they should have the waste handling and processing facility. They should make the provisions on their own for the segregation and storage of the waste, and they should make all efforts to segregate the waste according to the chemical nature, and according to the chemical nature they should process it. So it is all the new township, whichever they are coming, they are having this type of things, and it is very mandatory that should whatever the waste is generated by a particular entity, that has to be disposed and accordingly treated by their own mechanisms, by their own measures. Then not only the stakeholders, the different ministries have also been involved in the present rules. The chief ones are the Ministry of Urban Development. For example, they have to formulate a national policy how to waste to energy can be how from waste the energy can be made. So with the discussion with the stakeholders, that has to be done. It has to also go for the training and capacity building of different local bodies, because they are the ones actually who are dealing with the waste. So it is their duty to train the waste pickers in other things and have to capacity building, and the ministry also has to look into that how these rules have been implemented and what are the bottlenecks which are coming in the way of implementation of these rules. Similarly, Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers, as it has been said, most of the waste which is generated in India is biodegradable in nature, it is organic in nature. So we can use this waste in the production of compost. So this ministry actually looks into the promotion as per the appropriate mechanisms. It will promote the use of compost in different farmlands, and it will also go for the market development of that compost. That is also very essential. Then Ministry of Agriculture through proper mechanisms, it will set up laboratories first of all to test the quality of the compost, because whatever the compost that has been generated from the waste, because many a times it has been noticed that if the waste is not segregated and the compost if we make from it, that contains very harmful chemicals. So the quality, it has to, Ministry of Agriculture has to set up the laboratories for the testing of the manures and testing of the compost that has been generated from the waste. It will also lay down procedures. It will also decide the ratio that how the compost and the chemical fertilizers are being used in the farmland. So what should be the appropriate ratio for this, and it should also go for the propagate the use of compost in the farm, where at present the chemical fertilizers are being used. So how we can promote the use of compost which has been generated from the waste. Then Ministry of Power, for example, it has to decide the tariffs, that how, if we are generating the energy from the waste, what should be the tariff, and again it also has to decide about the compulsory purchasing power by distribution companies. So how the tariffs and how, what will be the rates and how we can encourage the use of this energy which will be generated by the power. Then it is also, the duties have also been earmarked to the Secretary in charge urban development in states and union territories. They have to go for the, this has first time it has been done, they have to go for the registration of the waste pickers and waste dealers. They have to set up a suitable infrastructure plan, and also again they have to monitor how these rules have been implemented at different places, go for the capacity building of the local bodies which are the main functionaries in the local areas. It also has to go for the promotion of the mechanisms of reducing the wastage, reusing, recovery, material recovery, which is buzzword today, where we are going from the circular economy where the waste products of one industry can be utilized by the other ones. So that also has been, this type of also roles have also been assigned and given in the form of duties. Then it is also the duties of district magistrate and district collector. It has also been said that they will give the suitable land for the waste processing facilities to be set up. They also have to monitor that how these rules have been implemented, what rules, what are the problems coming in, how they can financially help the setting of the waste processing facilities. Then duties of Central Pollution Control Board, which is the primary body to look after the environmental pollution. It has to coordinate with the state pollution control boards. It has to give the guidelines of the different standards of air, water, leakage which is generated when the waste is being dumped. So all these type of guidelines, and also maintaining the environmental standards and annual reports, and whatever the achievements which we have made in the country, in different parts of the country, but whatever the achievements they have come, so they have to be highlighted in the form of the annual report. So it is the duty of the CPCB to publish the annual reports, give the guidelines so as to make these things familiar, that others can know that how the functioning of the solid waste management rules, how the implementation is going on, and what more can be done in this regard. Then local authorities, they also have been assigned duties. For example, at the local level, for example, in the village panchayats of census town and urban agglomerations, the door-to-door segregation and collection of the waste is very important. So in this way, it has to promote door-to-door segregation. Training of the waste pickers is also very important. That how we are training, what safety equipments they should have while they are handling the waste. Because in India, we see that most of the times the people who deal with the waste, they work in very unhygienic conditions. They are prone to various types of diseases. They have no safety gears with them. So, and they do not know how to deal with a different kind of waste that they come across. So, it is also essential that we impart training to the waste pickers. So, it comes under the local authorities because they have to deal with them directly. They have to train the waste pickers accordingly, and then it is also that they also take the help of self-help groups which are there. So combining the role of the self-help groups and themselves, it is important that they at the local level they bring about the awareness of the people that how effective solid waste management can also improve their health. Because the children who are working in this area, they make themselves prone to different types of diseases and ailments which can have long term effects. So regarding educating them about the health impacts of improper handling of the waste, that is also very essential. So that comes under the responsibility of the local authorities. Similarly, we have state pollution control boards in different states. That is also their responsibility to see the enforcement of these rules, how they have been doing, and also to lay down the environmental standards according to the different places that they are visiting and that comes into their area. They also can take the guidelines from the CPCB, but independently they have to work in their area and to see the enforcement of these rules. They have to prepare the guidelines, they have to look into the area specific reasons and area specific cases where improper handling of the waste is being carried out and how they can help to overcome this situation. Then similarly, duty of manufacturer brand owners of disposable products and sanitary napkins and diapers. This comes under, for example, for the first time it has been the critical waste such as the sanitary waste has been addressed. So if we talk about the brand owners of disposable products, it is that they have to financially support the waste processing, because whatever the waste that has been generated by them, that is harmful, and so financially they have to help support the waste processing facility. Similarly, if we talk about the manufacturers and brand owners of the sanitary napkins and diapers, it is stated that they have to provide wrappers or pouches along with the product so that proper collection and proper handling of that type of waste can occur. Apart from it, they also have to make provisions for educating the masses regarding their use. So this comes under extended producer responsibility, a term which is widely used nowadays. It states that the companies, the brand owners, the manufacturers of the harmful compounds of the waste critical such as the sanitary waste, they have to look into the life cycle of their product when they bring it into the environment. So what is the life cycle of their product? Till its final death of that particular product, that is the responsibility of the producer. This we term as extended producer responsibility. So the responsibility of the producer does not end with the production of the particular product, but they also have to look into the fate of that product when it is not in use. Then the duties of the industrial units located between 100 km from the refuse derived fuel and waste to energy plants based on solid plants. So it is stated that the industrial units which are there, they have to replace 5% of their fuel requirement by refused derived oil. So they have to make the provisions in such a way that whatever the waste they are producing, that has to be converted into fuel, and they have to replace the fuel requirements by this manner. So in this way, it is a kind of an industrial ecology where we are using our waste products into the resource, and so that we are helping to curb the problem of solid waste disposal from our own systems. So it is not going anywhere, it is in our own premises, and we are making efforts to use it according to the our requirement, so that we are able to derive some output and we are able to use it for our own beneficial purposes. Then there are also duties set up and defined in the present laws regarding setting up of solid waste processing and treatment facility. So whenever this type of solid waste processing facility has to be set up in urban, rural or semi-urban area, it has to be taken care of that the guidelines which are given by CPCB, the authorities which are doing that, the guidelines have to be followed with taking due necessary approval. So whenever we are setting up of any solid waste processing facility, that has to be scientifically correct and proper approvals have to be taken, and all the guidelines, the technical scientific guidelines has to be taken care of. So whether it is a sanitary landfill or we are going for incineration or you are going for other methods of waste disposal, it should have been properly taken care by the CPCB or SPCB. Now there are special provisions under these rules for the management of solid waste in hilly areas. Hilly areas, there are the fragile ecosystems, it has been said. First of all, it is said that no sanitary landfill, which is the most common way of managing the waste, it should not be allowed in the hilly areas. If it is there, it has to be 2.5 kilometers in the plain areas, it should be there, and apart from it, in the hilly areas which are particularly very sensitive and most of the times they are the tourist places, it has been said that the local authorities who are working there for the management of the solid waste, they have to make the tourists aware that they are not littering. Spot fines, if they are applicable, they should be levied, and most of the time the tourists, they should be made aware that such type of littering and such type of improper waste throwing here and there is not allowed. So that comes under the duties of the local bodies or the organizations who are working in that area. So this time in these laws particularly, it has been stated clearly that special provisions have been given for the management of the solid waste in hilly areas, because they are the tourist places and most of the times it has been found that lot of improper handling of the waste occurs in these places. Now for example, criteria for waste to energy process, that is also there. For example, whenever we are converting waste to energy, so not all kind of waste can be made to be converted into energy, because it has to be seen that it is economically feasible for us, that we are using the waste for this thing, and the amount of output that we are getting in terms of power, whether it is there or not. And apart from it, it has been seen that all the types of waste should not be dumped for the generation of the electricity, though that kind of things have also been taken care of in these rules. Then specification of sanitary landfills is also being specified, because generally it was like sanitary landfills is a place where you put down all your waste, cover it with the soil and with the help of proper liners and all. But now specific guidelines have been given that it apart from the other things which have been laid down properly, that it should be properly documented, recorded, and the area should be well searched by geologically, geographically. It has to be properly seen whether this area is particularly suitable for the converting it into the sanitary landfill, because most of the times it is seen that the leachate production is there, harmful chemicals are being released into the ambient atmosphere, they go deep into the ground, they also pollute the groundwater. So in these circumstances it becomes very difficult to manage the waste in such a scenario. So specifically it has been given, and it should be large enough, it should be there to support, it should be functioning as a sanitary landfill for at least 15 to 20 years. So all these specifications have been given. These rules also mention the time frame of implementation. For landfill identification, it is 1 year. Procurement of waste processing facilities, it is 2 years. Segregation of the waste is 2 years. Setting up of sanitary landfill, it is 3 years. It is there, and monitoring, that how we have to monitor that we are able to see that whatever the rules which we have laid down, how far we have been successful in meeting our objectives. So how far we are able to meet the solid waste management objectives that we are there. So there is a Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change that will constitute a central monitoring committee, and this committee will monitor the success the implementation of these rules and review it every year. So apart from this, it is there, if we in a nutshell, if we conclude that solid waste management rules have been framed with utmost care, with due discussions, lot of public opinion suggestions were taken, and it has also tried to address most of the issues of the waste generations that come up. Most important things which we see is the segregation of the waste has been given due importance. Then specifications for the sanitary waste, this has been given. Construction demolition waste has been specified, and it most importantly it has given assigned the role of various stakeholders. So it is the duty of the waste generators also, it is the duty of government officials, it is the duty of all the people who are associated with the waste directly or indirectly. So we have to see that how far we are able to implement these rules and we are able to manage the solid waste properly in our surroundings. Thank you.